You are listening to Mindset and Metabolism Mastery, Episode 16. Today, we're cracking the code on one of the most common deep-rooted imbalances I see with my clients struggling with their weight and energy. The master controller of your metabolic function, your thyroid. Let's dive in. Welcome to Mindset and Metabolism Mastery, a show for women who are tired of feeling hopeless, defeated, and frustrated with their bodies and want to have more energy to show up every day as the best version of themselves. I'm holistic nutrition consultant Shannon Hagel, and I can help you reprogram your brain to create bulletproof consistency with ease and address your personal hormonal imbalances that are leading to weight gain. Life can feel a whole lot better with a body you love, delicious food, and a little wine. And I'm here to help you get there. Ready to lose weight and feel amazing in your body? Let's dive in. Welcome, friends. So many women feel so stuck and lost on their weight loss journey. They are so confused because nothing seems to even make sense anymore. Maybe this is you, and you feel like you thought you knew how to eat healthy, but you've done that and worked out and literally nothing is changing. If you're doing the right things and it's not working, it's because it's not the right things, my love. You have to look deeper. It goes beyond the exercise and nutrition. If you have major imbalances in your body slowing down your metabolic function, the nutrition and exercise are irrelevant, and you will continue to struggle regardless of how good you're being. So today we're cracking the code on one of the most common deep-rooted imbalances I see with my clients in my weight loss program for women over 40, the Thrive Formula. Something that's been a total game changer for countless women, the thyroid. Because the thyroid is literally the master controller of your metabolic function. If your thyroid sucks, your metabolism sucks. And yes, you can have a low-functioning thyroid without having abnormal blood work or even a hypothyroid diagnosis. So if you like nerding out on the science, you are going to love this episode. Let's start with the basics. Your thyroid is that butterfly-shaped gland in your neck, and it is essentially the CEO of your metabolism. It regulates how your body uses energy. Now, when we're talking about any hormone, there are some key things to understand. So hormones are messengers that tell your cells how to behave. They need to actually get into the cell to deliver the message. So in order to get into the cell, that cell must have a receptor for that specific hormone. So if your hormones are like keys and your hormone receptors are like locks, you have to match the right key to the right lock in order to get inside. Now, every cell in your body has a thyroid receptor, which means your thyroid hormones impact everything. And I mean everything, from your heart rate to how quickly you burn calories, from your libido to your digestive system. So when it's out of whack, cheese and crackers, it can feel like everything is falling apart. An underactive thyroid is a sneaky beast. It creeps on you with symptoms like fatigue, weight gain, feeling like you're always cold, hair loss, especially eyebrows. The outer third of your eyebrows will start to get really thin. Bloat, constipation, which is having less than one bowel movement a day, high cholesterol, and ladies, it's not in your head. These are real symptoms of a thyroid begging for attention. Most women I work with in my program say that they have had their thyroids tested and everything is quote unquote normal. And yet they sure as hell don't feel normal. They still have all these symptoms indicating an underactive thyroid. Has this ever happened to you? You are so unbelievably tired all the time. You sleep like crap. You're gaining weight left, right, and center. You become like Jekyll and Hyde overnight. Your hair is thinning. You don't even recognize this body that you're in. So you go to your doctor desperate for answers. They run some tests and tell you everything is normal. And your heart absolutely drops. Because the only thing worse than finding out that there's actually something seriously wrong is hearing that there's absolutely nothing wrong and you are sent home expected to adapt to this new shitty life. So let me be super clear. If your tests say that everything is normal, but you're experiencing all of these symptoms that are negatively impacting your life, everything is not normal. It is not in your head. Women are not destined to feel like crap for the last 30, 40, 50 years of their life. If the tests say that you are normal, but you are still experiencing symptoms, your practitioner should not be stopping there. they should be investigating further. So let's talk about these thyroid tests themselves for a second. Has your doctor ever sent you to get your thyroid tested? What did they actually test? I would put money on it that over 95% of you only received a TSH test and maybe a T4 test. Now, this is just the tip of the iceberg. For any blood test to be giving you information about what is happening with your thyroid health, you need the full Monty. You need your TSH, your free T3, your free T4, your reverse T3, and those sneaky thyroid antibodies. It's like detective work for your health. There are also some major limitations of these blood serum tests. The lab ranges are not based on optimal health. They are based on averages. The averages of those who go get the thyroid test done. But they don't just give these tests out to anyone, do they? Doctors will typically only send you to have your thyroid tested if there is a reason to assume that there might be something wrong. So the averages are actually based on an unhealthy population, not based on optimal health. Your doctor's just looking for a line in the sand where they can diagnose you. If you don't yet reach this line where they could give you medication, then you're considered normal. But symptoms of dysfunction don't just start when you cross that magical line. They are building up the closer you get to it. So let's break this down a little bit. Are you ready to nerd out? Stay with me because it can get a little complex. When you get these tests, what are you actually testing? So TSH is your thyroid stimulating hormone. It's not even a thyroid hormone. It just tells your thyroid to turn up or turn down. So you may have adequate levels of TSH, but that doesn't mean the message is actually being received by your thyroid. Then we have T4. Now, this is your inactive thyroid hormone. It is inactive because it is bound. Your cells cannot access it. T4 needs to turn into free T3 in order to be used by your body. So again, you may have adequate levels of T4, but that does not mean that the conversion into the free T3 at the rate that your body needs is actually happening. And this is true even for those of you that are on thyroid medication. Either you've been diagnosed with hypothyroidism or you've had part or all of your thyroid removed. Because most thyroid medication is primarily T4 based, the bound inactive. It still needs to convert into T3 in your body. Now you have two types of your T3. You have the free T3 that I was just talking about, but you also have something called reverse T3. And like T4, reverse T3 is bound, which means it is not available to be used by the cells. If your free T3 can't cross the cellular membrane and get into the cell, it will be shunted, turned into reverse T3. This is why it is so important to not just look at your TSH and your T4 and assume that that tells you anything about your thyroid health, because you can be hypothyroid at a cellular level, meaning those thyroid receptors, the locks that need to be unlocked in order to enter and influence a cell, are rusted. So free T3, the key, can no longer open the lock if it is rusted. So that free T3 becomes bound up, turning into reverse T3, which is unavailable to be used. High levels of a reverse T3 would indicate hypothyroidism at that cellular level. So free T3 is responsible for increasing energy production, mitochondrial function. It increases your muscle mass, which in turn is really important for a healthy metabolism. It supports the production of your happy hormones, dopamine and serotonin. It's involved in the production of estrogen and progesterone and testosterone. So it's kind of essential for just being able to function. How are we doing? Is everyone still with me? It's a lot, right? But it's important. It's important to understand that these blood tests are not the gold standard. They are a tool, certainly, but they should not override your experience. Symptoms should not be ignored just because an incomplete blood panel indicates average health. Average is not optimal. Average these days is obesity. It's diabetes. It's metabolic dysfunction. It's heart disease. None of us should be shooting for average. I want to ensure you, if you feel like you don't even recognize your body anymore, but you're getting gaslit from your practitioners, it is not in your head. It is not normal. And there is so much that you can do to support your hormonal balance, even if you don't have a hypothyroid diagnosis. Now let's talk about this hormone tango. Our bodies are like a finely tuned orchestra. And the thyroid and sex hormones are key players. But as we hit our 30s and beyond, things start to get a little out of tune. Estrogen and progesterone fluctuations can throw your thyroid off its game, leading to this cascade of metabolic mishaps. Progesterone actually enhances your thyroid function, and your thyroid hormones make your cells more responsive to progesterone. They rely on each other. So as your progesterone starts to decline after the age of 35, your thyroid health will also start to decline. Perimenopause can begin in our 30s, and it is not just about fertility here. The slowing down of your ovaries has a huge domino effect on all your cellular and hormonal functions. So no wonder blanket diets you did in your 20s no longer work for you anymore. It is so much more complex than this mathematical equation. And then there's estrogen. Many women actually experience excess levels of estrogen because of exposure to pseudoestrogens in their food, cleaning, and skincare products, or because of a backed up detoxification system. High levels of estrogen actually increase something called your thyroid binding globulin. That's really fun to say. I highly suggest you try it. This is a protein that renders your thyroid hormone bound and inactive, right? That reverse T3. We will see this especially in women who have been on birth control pill for years at a time, because birth control pills, most of them, are estrogen based. So you will have these high levels of estrogen in the body and therefore a lower ability to access your thyroid hormones. Then there's cortisol, right? Your stress hormone. When you're stressed, and who isn't these days, it can put your metabolic function on the back burner. Stress of all kinds, whether it's physical or emotional, mental stress, will inhibit your production of TSH and cause your body to push that free T3 into the inactive reverse T3. It's all connected, ladies. Managing your stress isn't just about feeling zen. It's about keeping your thyroid happy. Supporting your stress, adrenals, and nervous system health should always be prioritized when looking to increase your metabolic function. Because remember, your metabolic function is controlled by the thyroid. Now, inflammation is also another piece of this puzzle. When your body is inflamed, it makes the body less responsive to the thyroid hormone. It actually breaks down your cellular health. You need healthy cellular membranes so that the thyroid receptors, remember that lock on the cell, doesn't become rusted. And this is why I always say inflammation is the nemesis to your metabolism. Now, there is the obvious inflammation like joint pain or an injury, but most people actually have low-grade chronic inflammation going on in their bodies that they don't even know about. The foods you eat, the toxins you're exposed to, even your gut health all play a role in inflammation. Remember, we need that T4 to convert into T3, and 60% of that process actually happens in your liver and another 20% in your intestines. So you cannot have a healthy thyroid if you do not have a healthy gut. This is why healing digestive function is one of the first things we do with our clients, because it all stems from here. If you are not absorbing nutrients properly, your body will not function properly. And remember, you can have digestive issues without having a poop problem. It's not always that obvious. I dive deeper into the importance of gut health in episode 7, so make sure to check that one out if you want to dive deeper. Now, I know this can all sound very overwhelming, but here's some really good news. You have the power to fight back. Even though your thyroid is a complex mother trucker, supporting a healthy thyroid and strengthening your metabolism can be very simple. Diet and lifestyle changes make a huge difference. Now, the first thing you want to focus on for optimal thyroid health is pooping daily. Having a daily bowel movement is necessary, and it's how the body gets rid of toxic waste like bad bacteria, dead cells, used up or excess hormones, toxins. Not having a daily poop is like not taking the garbage out when the waste bin is full. Things start to stink, right? They start to ferment. Constipation is the breeding ground for a poor microbiome. It is literally toxic. There's been over 150 chemicals that have been identified that we come into contact with daily that have been shown to reduce thyroid hormones. So your detoxification pathways are incredibly important to a healthy metabolism. And having a daily, regular bowel movement is one of the most important parts of that. If you don't poop daily, the literal and metaphorical shit cannot get out. So I know some of you are thinking, okay, great. But if I could go daily, I would already be doing that. So proper bowel function starts from the mouth. It starts with chewing your damn food. I cannot tell you how many people are not sufficiently chewing their food. It's so simple and yet so overlooked. You should be chewing each bite of food around 30 times before swallowing. I want you to test yourself. See if you're even coming close. We are so quick to look for a supplement or a pill or a fancy diet to fix all of our problems. But if we just focused on the simplest things that we are missing, you would eliminate most of your symptoms. So chew your damn food and then follow the 3 principles of poop: hydration, bulk, and lubrication. Your body needs to be properly hydrated, have enough fiber and enough healthy fats to be able to smoothly drop the kids off at the pool, to quote Jessica Simpson. So if you are not currently doing the deed at least 1 time a day, aim for at least 2 liters or 8 cups of water daily. 7 servings of veg to get that fiber up, and add some healthy fats to each and every meal. Your diet plays a starring role in managing thyroid health and protecting your body against inflammation. Certain foods support thyroid function while others might hinder it. So foods that are high in selenium, zinc, and iodine are like the holy trinity for your thyroid. Brazil nuts are a huge one for selenium. They're my favorite. 2 of these suckers a day will give you enough selenium that you need for your daily requirements. Seafood and seaweed are your thyroid happy go-tos. Anti-inflammatory foods like omega-3 rich fish. You're looking for wild fish here, not farmed fish. Leafy greens and berries, all of these will help you reduce inflammation and should be your besties. And then removing highly inflammatory foods like processed meats, vegetable oils, and yes, gluten and dairy products. Now, before you get mad at me, because I know everyone's on board willing to do all the things until I take away their cheese, and then you all want to cut a bitch. I am not saying you can never have these foods. They are simply not everyday foods if you have thyroid issues. And I'm going to explain why. Listen to the why, and then you can make your own decisions. Let's start with gluten. It is estimated that 90% of hypothyroidism is actually caused by the autoimmune disease Hashimoto's, which is another reason to get your thyroid antibodies checked whenever doing a full thyroid panel. Now, this is a condition where your immune system is super confused and starts attacking the thyroid tissues, thinking that they're an invader. The reason for eliminating gluten when thyroid issues are present is because gluten can greatly impact this process through molecular mimicry. The body confuses the molecular structure of gluten and the molecular structure of the thyroid tissue, causing your body to go to war with your thyroid. Not a great situation. Gluten also leads to intestinal permeability, which is a fancy way of saying leaky gut. A 2017 study from the Journal of American Medical Association found that 100% of individuals who consumed gluten had an increase in gut permeability. This is a leading cause of chronic inflammation. So again, not the best. Now, most people aren't thrilled when I suggest that they reduce their gluten consumption, but by far, what I get the most pushback on is decreasing dairy. We love our dairy, don't we? God, we love cheese more than sugar. And it's super high in calcium, right? So it should be good for our health, for our healthy bones. So why would I say that it's not an everyday food? Well, it turns out that lack of calcium is actually rarely the problem when it comes to bone health and osteoporosis. In fact, the countries that drink the most milk, because it's not a worldwide custom, the countries that drink the most milk have higher rates of osteoporosis. Now, if you're confused as to how that could even happen when osteoporosis is actually a lack of calcium in the bones, you are not alone. It sounds like increasing calcium would be the solution to this problem, right? Well, because nothing about biology and these thousands of biochemical responses that are happening every second in your body are simple, the answer is not so clear-cut. When you dig deeper, you learn that osteoporosis is not actually a lack of calcium. It's an issue of keeping the calcium in the bones. And that is a job of magnesium. Over 75% of people are not meeting their daily magnesium requirements. And it's not just because people are generally not eating enough vegetables and whole foods. It's actually because even the healthy foods themselves are becoming depleted in nutrients. Modern day agriculture uses fertilizers that leave the soil depleted of magnesium. If it's not in the soil, it won't be in the plant. Take carrots, for instance. they have lost about 75% of their magnesium content since the 1940s. So you'd have to eat 4 times the amount to get the same level of magnesium. So let's bring this back to the thyroid. Why does it matter that we are low in magnesium and therefore have a hard time keeping calcium in our bones and teeth where it's supposed to be? Well, when calcium leaches out of your soft tissues, it contributes to the rusting of the thyroid receptor. It creates a casing around the cell membrane, which makes it really difficult for the active thyroid hormone, free T3, to enter the cell. It is one of the leading causes of hypothyroidism from that cellular level. So remember, this is when someone can have perfectly normal, even optimal levels of their thyroid hormones and still be experiencing symptoms of a low functioning thyroid. The optimal ratio in your body of calcium to magnesium is 2:1 to 1:1. Milk products have a 7:1 calcium to magnesium ratio, and cheese has a 26:1 ratio. So yeah, you're getting lots of calcium. But if the body cannot keep that calcium in the bones, that calcium actually becomes a major problem. Not to mention, dairy is extremely constipating, which goes against rule number 1 in thyroid health, right? Which is pooping. So yeah, I get it. Nobody wants to hear that your fave foods might be a problem. And again, your body does not require you to be perfect when it's functioning optimally. But if you are on the struggle bus, feeling like your metabolism is shot, feeling exhausted, your eyebrows or your hair are thinning, you're bloated, you're constipated, your weight feels out of control, you have estrogen dominant symptoms, your mood is shit, you have brain fog, high cholesterol, dry skin. If you are struggling with 2 or more of these issues, then you have so much within your control to improve them. It can certainly feel like a huge sacrifice to say no to the foods that we love. But there are sacrifices on both sides. Right now, you're sacrificing your quality of life, your comfort in your body, your health, your energy, easy periods, your happiness for some crappy low-quality cheese. Removing dairy or gluten completely can feel very overwhelming. So what I like to do is just set some conditions that work for me in my life. For instance, over 90% of the time, I would say I'm dairy-free. I use delicious and nutrient-dense spreads and dips and dressings to replace the flavor day to day. I've kicked that daily dairy to the curb. But my deal with myself is that I will save myself for the real good stuff. If I'm out at a friend's place and they bring out a charcuterie plate with some truffle-infused fancy-ass cheese, that is my exception, right? Because you don't have to be perfect, but you do get to make choices that allow you to live in a body that you love. And you don't need to do it alone. I work with women every single day to help them uncover the mysteries of their own bodies so that they can make smart decisions that get them into a body that they love rather than trying to figure all this shit out by themselves. Because it's not cut, dry, and simple. There is a reason why the things that you are doing are not working. Let's get to the root of it. Thank you for tuning into the Mindset Metabolism podcast, you guys. If you loved this episode and want to hear more like it, it would literally make my week if you left me a review. I will see you in next week's episode where we talk about how to create accountability with yourself. You have a beautiful rest of your day. If you enjoyed today's show and don't want to worry about missing an episode, you can follow the show wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you haven't already, I would really appreciate it if you could share the podcast with others who you think might benefit from it and leave a rating and review to let me know what you think. It doesn't have to be a 5-star rating, although I sure hope that you love the show. I want your honest feedback so I can create an awesome podcast that provides tons of value. Visit www.thrivefromtheinside.com/podcast launch for step-by-step instructions on how to follow, rate, and review. Thank you for listening to today's episode of Mindset and Metabolism Mastery. If you want to learn more about balancing your hormones, repairing your metabolism, and losing weight with empowerment and ease, visit www.thrivefromtheinside.com. I'll see you next time.